Hello, church. Today's devotional is going to be from Matthew 26, verse 41. This is Jesus as he is about to be taken away by the soldiers to be crucified, and he's in the Garden of Gethsemane. He has Peter, James, and John with him, and he calls them to support him in prayer, to support him in this very, very difficult moment. And he knew that they were sleepy, that they were tired, that, they had all these circumstantial factors kind of opposing them and going against them. And Jesus tells them, he says, "Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." There are times when we are vulnerable, when we are susceptible, when we are weak in our lives, when the odds are just set against us. We're tired, we're hungry, we've had a long day, we're stressed out. Someone went off on us. We got in a fight with somebody, an argument, or whatever it is. I love the advice that Jesus gives. It is so simple yet so powerful. He says, "Watch and pray." What does it mean to watch? To watch means to be attentive, to be alert, to be intentional, to not just sit back, but to look, to lean in. And the second piece, he says, pray. Watch and pray. That means ask God, call out to God, communicate with God, ask him to help you in this current moment through the circumstances that you are facing. Bring those circumstances before God. And I love that it's not just watch. Jesus didn't say watch that you may not enter temptation, or he didn't just say pray that you may not enter temptation, but he says watch and pray. And I love it just shows this kind of this both where we are responsible to do our part. And then at the same time, we're leaning totally on the sovereignty and the power of God to help us and deliver us from the temptation. So it's amazing because we're not being lazy, we're not being laid back. We're doing what we can, but at the same time, we're totally humbly depending on God. And that is the way that Christians should always fight temptation. It's a simple yet powerful encouragement. I mean, the question I want you to ask yourself as you analyze your life and as you are being tempted throughout the days, and we're being tempted all the time. There's a slew of temptation coming at us all the time. And the question I want you to ask is, as I'm being tempted, how much time passes between the point of when you are first tempted to when you pray out to God? How long is that time? I want you to think about that today. Ask yourself, how much time passes between the point when I am first tempted to when I first cry out to God for help through that temptation? And the goal is to make that time as short as humanly possible. The goal is to learn to make prayer the immediate thought after the moment we are being tempted. You see something that you know you shouldn't look at, or you get a thought to do something you know you shouldn't do. The goal is to have our immediate next thought to be a prayer to our God and Father to help us through that temptation. And we know that watching and praying works. We know it works, and it will help us not enter into temptation and to go into it and to indulge in it and sin. We know because that's what Jesus tells his disciples to do. If it was something that completely didn't work, Jesus wouldn't have told that to the disciples. So we're not called to just fight on our own, but at the same time, we are called to be intentional, to be active, but to depend on God. Too many people try to just think their way out of temptation or just try to distract themselves from temptation. And that only gets you so far. When it comes to temptation, you can run, but you can't hide. It will find you out. But you can actually hide from temptation in God. You can pray to him and he can help you. And let's not try to come up with better ways of overcoming temptation or escaping temptation than what Jesus recommended to us. Let us watch and pray, church. Amen.